this point I will discuss only for 10-15 minutes. So this is brief point. Point is, let's say understand here. See, wave particle duality. What does wave mean? See, suppose when if so we take it, the wave has a particular behavior, and how do I identify a wave behavior? Something which is very distinctive of wave. See, if some of you may recall, we have done something like YDSC. In case of YDSC, when we have two slits S1 and S2, so two waves are traveling, and two waves travel when they reach a particular point. How many waves are reaching here? Two waves are reaching. But if they are forming a dark fringe, what does dark fringe indicate? Indicate dark fringe means two waves are adding. We are adding two waves here. Addition of two waves is leading to a zero value. It means it is cancelling each other. And this is very distinctive property of wave. This is wave behavior. Because wave has a phase and it is out of phase, if they're oscillating in the opposite sense, they can cancel. So what is one of the very distinctive behavior of wave behavior? It has a phase kind of property. It cannot matter, cannot have. We are trying to distinguish between two very different kind of behavior. Wave behavior and matter behavior. So wave matter, what is very distinctive, wave has some kind of oscillation. When it has oscillation, it has phase, and whenever these two waves meet, there's something called interference. And when interference, it could be constructive or destructive. And when they're out of phase, two equal waves, it can lead to something like dark fringe. Dark fringe is something it can only be understood because of oscillation property. There's no other way you can define dark fringe. So that is wave nature. YDSC experiment very clearly demonstrated that light is a wave. Light is a wave. I hope all are clear. You understand? Does it give you also feel? Do you get convinced that YDSC experiment, if I see dark patches on the wall, alternate dark and bright patches, and you do the calculation of path difference and all, and you find it matches, is that not a conclusive evidence of wave behavior? Karthikeyan?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood what is wave behavior?
Yes, sir.
Well, so this is wave behavior. So this was very clear and very clearly demonstrated that, okay, light is a wave. Then comes photoelectric effect. Now, let's see, understand photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect, what we have understood from classical physics or normal physics, if there's a particle here, if this mass m is there, it was initially, let's say it was at rest. And after some time, I find this mass at rest has acquired momentum. Right? From zero momentum, it has become non-zero momentum. So if it has acquired non-zero momentum because photon has struck this. So when the photon strikes an electron, it momentum changes. So what does it demonstrate? If momentum is changing because the conservation of momentum have applied, it clearly shows that photon also must have carried momentum. The photon also is this behavior. If I look at the behavior of electron, it behaves as if it has undergone a collision with another particle, another mass, another matter. So in this case, the fact that photoelectrons undergo change in momentum, they acquire energy, it is consistent with the collision of photoelectron with another object which has matter kind of behavior. So this photoelectric effect clearly demonstrated that light also has a behavior which is like a matter behavior, which has matter-like property. And what is typical of a matter is, so far our understanding of until this chapter, when I say momentum, can you think of momentum without mass? Until now, our understanding is momentum is something which is only be associated with matter. It has to be mass. And second thing, what happens in case of matter, if we add two masses, can the addition of two masses make it zero mass? That doesn't happen. It doesn't cancel. So this is something, so cancellation is very typical of wave behavior. And change in momentum due collision is clearly very, very distinctive of matter behavior. So this experiment demonstrated that light can behave as a wave in most of the time, but sometimes it can also display matter kind of behavior. That's a wave particle duality. Is wave particle duality making some sense? What does wave particle duality mean? Anvita, is it making some sense now? What is wave particle duality?
Yes, sir.
Because sometimes you understood what is wave behavior. So one word, if I have to choose, somebody says define wave behavior in one single word. Which behavior, which is the behavior which demonstrate wave nature? I would say interference. Interference is a typical wave behavior. It cannot happen in wave. Because interference, when we add two things, it could value can depend on phase difference, and phase difference can only in wave. So interference, which we can say diffraction and all, are typical wave behavior, and change in momentum is typical particle behavior, matter behavior. So light differs both. So based on this, whatever experiment results we have seen, and it led to what you call as further definition or better understanding of light. And light, when we talk about light, what we say about light is similar thing is valid for all EM waves. It was led to photon theory. What is photon theory? And then again we come across something interesting which sounds very well. What is photon? Okay, so until this light also is composed of photon, and all photons travel the speed of light, because light is composed of photon in all frames of reference, which is very surprising. So it's until now what we understood. See, if a car is moving, its car speed depends on frame of reference. The different person at rest will observe different speed. Person which is in motion will observe the same speed at a different value. The speed of most of the things dependent on frame of reference. What is unique and which is this is something, this particular concept led to what you call as general theory of relativity. Photon or light, whichever frame of reference you observe, speed remains same. So what it means, if the light is coming from here, there's a source of light, and if we send a light pulse, we suddenly switch on and off, the light will travel in all directions. Let's say it is a kind of laser beam. The laser beam is directly like this. It is traveling the speed of light. So there's an observer here. Okay, he will see that there's some time it will take. He will observe the speed, the rate at which it is traveling. He will see at rest speed is c naught. But what is very surprising, which is part of general theory of relativity, and it is not so easy. I think this is something those who want to understand, it takes minimum 4-5 hours of time for us to understand. Suppose this person himself starts moving. This frame of reference start moving the speed of c naught by 3. So this person observer also is moving towards light source. Even when we observe from this frame of reference, still the speed of light remains c naught, which is okay. We will just note it down. Will not is not without undergoing the detail of theory of relativity. It doesn't make sense, but that's what the statement means. Speed of light, photon travel speed of light, all frames of reference. Sorry, I did type of this up. What else we understand about light from this experiment? Okay, other things what we have told. See, when we talk about monochromatic EM radiation, not only light, monochromatic means it has a particular all wavelength, same wavelength. The light has certain wavelength. So all it is composed of only one wavelength. If we check, we will find only one wavelength is present, or the wavelength is not present. And there are ways of checking wavelength. YD experiment also is example of how we check the wavelength. So they are composed of photons. So all photons, if light is monochromatic, it is composed of innumerable photons, but all photons are like an energy packet. They are like an energy packet. There's no mass, nothing. We can't see it. But see, this is it. Every single photon will be composed of same energy level. Energy level of each photon is fixed based on its frequency and wavelength, and its momentum also is fixed. Because when it under collision, we can also calculate momentum. What the momentum is, this is de Broglie equation, which we'll do from tomorrow. Momentum is equal to h by lambda. So we know the lambda value. So if wavelength is known, we can calculate this momentum. And both numerator and denominator, if you multiply by frequency, okay, the numerator h into frequency becomes energy, and this term becomes equal to speed of irradiation. What is momentum equal to? So that is equal to energy of the photon divided by c, that is the momentum. So each photon, despite the fact it does not have mass, it has mass-like property, matter-like property, it has momentum. What the momentum is energy by c, and this is the relationship. Okay, so during collision, collision means what? Whenever light gets absorbed or reflected, momentum and energy are conserved. So if I take, suppose, photon collides with a orbiting electron. If I take combination of photon and orbiting electron, if I calculate what the initial momentum was, and photon gets absorbed here, and this electron, if I calculate the final momentum, which in this case will be momentum of electron alone, the momentum is conserved and energy also is conserved, though the number of photons are not conserved. So this what happens, energy and momentum both are conserved in case of a photon getting absorbed by electron. Okay, though it has momentum, but its mass is, yes, finish.
Sir, when photon is getting absorbed, like how is it similar to a matter-like property, sir?
See, if it gets absorbed, basically you see the momentum has changed. See this electron, let's forget about photon. If I find the momentum of electron has changed. Okay, how do I explain this change in momentum? Where from the changes momentum has come?
Like some force, some energy transfer.
Something, but this also, see, basically say, and this kind of thing behavior we observe in what cases? See, suppose I take a similar case. If I have mass capital M, other mass M is coming, it gets absorbed. In that case, what will happen? If I sum of this change in final momentum is equal to sum of these two momentum. If I find the final momentum is greater than initial momentum, it means this also had momentum in the same direction. So this is, these two will look similar or not?
Yes.
So it produces same effect as if a particle has collided, and the particle, when you calculate here, the momentum has changed. So here, what is surprising here, this again, mass will remain same. But if this initial velocity was v naught, it becomes v dash. Its momentum has changed. The mass cannot change. When it collides also, this has no mass. It carries momentum without mass. So it has that matter-like behavior. And you know, and it sounds little odd, but all such observation, all such theory have led to a better understanding and new developments and new applications. And some of you might know, even when you talk about, see, like theory of relativity, Einstein's theory, time dilation and all those things. And all those things, even today, the entire communication system works on application of Newton's theory and Einstein's theory of relativity. If we don't use, then only, see, when we send the signal, you know, the GPS system, very precisely we can find out a satellite which is so far away can exactly place where your mobile system is. And this device system, how the signals are traveling the speed of light. They are EM waves. And all this motion also, it involves this light motion, and all these cases, since it is traveling so fast, general theory of relativity is applicable. When we apply this theory only, then only the whole actual observation matches with theoretical observation. So they are not just theory, it is proven based on several applications. That is present. So rest mass of photon is considered to be zero. Okay. Other final point is photon has no charge. It remains unaffected in presence of magnetic field and electric field. We are assuming the more magnetic field is constant and electric field is constant. If these two are varying, they themselves are creating EM waves. That's a different matter. But if light is made to pass through a magnetic field which is not time varying, electric field which is not time varying, in that case it remains unaffected. So these are the photon theory of light, and it also gives some insight. It has a discrete energy type of thing and momentum. I don't know how many of you find really surprising. See, how do you, suppose I ask you, based on what you have studied about photoelectric effect, what experimental result gives you, helps you come to the conclusion that energy of all photon is equal to a constant? What observation has led to this conclusion? Can someone think of what are the experimental observation based on which I can say, okay, all photons have exactly same amount of energy? So basically, if I say all amount the same amount of energy, start thinking. Assume that they had different amount of energy. If they had different amount of energy, what kind of experimental result it should have led to? And that experimental result, in what way it is in conflict with observed experimental result. So what is the observation? What is the experimental result which helps you conclude that all photons have same amount of energy? Think of what experimental result. Which experimental result prove that photon have only fixed amount of energy?
So the saturation current.
Saturation current, no, I don't think so. Anything else? Fixed amount of energy. It has no more, no less. So if I take something like violet color, it says, okay, but all photons will have exactly, I'm just giving a number, something like 3.2 electrons. If I use violet color for a particular wavelength, if the energy is 3.2, exactly every photon will have the same energy, no less, no more. What is the experimental result which helps you conclude? And we discussed this one. You should be able to think of. All of you apply your mind. See, that's how the science develops. We have some observation. Those observation, this is called power of inductive reasoning and power of deductive reasoning. I observe something, I can help. All this observation, I should come to some kind of help you come to some conclusion. Something else you can think of?
So if the work function is something like 3 electron volts or something,
Yes.
and if like sends some wavelength 2.9 or something like that, if the photon has more energy than at least one
Absolutely. Perfect. Very good. I'm happy that you said that. And so basically, if work function is 3 volt, if violet rays had some photons which had energy of even 3.5 electrons, in that case, I should have seen some photoelectrons with energy of only 0.5 electron volts also, which I don't see at all. Whatever intensity of violet light I use, even very bright light also I use, still if I use a material which has a work function of 3, I don't spot even a single photoelectron which has energy greater than 0.2 electrons. That's one observation. And what is the second way we can understand? If I use, rather than using white color, if I use red color, very bright light, very intense light, make it fall onto metal, still nothing comes out. Why is nothing coming out? It means none of the electron is receiving energy equal to 3 electron volts. Why red color is not able to give energy of 3 electron volts? Why violet color is able to give that electron volts? Does it not indicate that all red color has energy packets of particular level and violet colors have all energy packets of particular level? Does it not sounds very convincing? Does it or it doesn't? And I find this lesson is very interesting. Kathy, you find it interesting or not so interesting?
Yes, sir.
A little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, some of you have followed this point, Bhagishri.
Sir.
Do you get it? This something? See, mentally, do you feel convinced that this conclusion seems to be consistent with whatever understanding you have from photoelectric effect experiment?
Yes, sir, it does.
It does. Is it not? It does something. It does end up. It happens very quickly. Otherwise, I should have seen something. So all series of experiments which were conducted, and we have seen what the results of all the experiments were. If I had to conclude based on that, this is kind of conclusion. It all comes with a fixed energy packet. Every single one, and so many of them are there, exactly same amount of energy and same amount of momentum as well. The both are related, which is very surprising. Very surprising. For no amount of high intensity doesn't matter. And it also proved, indirectly, it also proved that no electron can receive energy at same instance from 2 photons, which is not happening. Otherwise, that would also have led to that. So both the things, so as you said, the YDSC was a kind of conclusive evidence that light is a wave. And photoelectric effect is a conclusive evidence that it also exhibit matter kind of property. So it shows, and one of the property dominates depending on situation. This was photoelectric effect. Yes.
Sir, what exactly is like the rest mass of a photon? Like, how do you define?
Rest mass, basically what happens, the moment we talk of momentum. See, momentum, our understanding all along for hundreds of years, momentum is always thought to be associated with what? Mass.
Yes, sir.
And in this case, we tell, okay, it has momentum. But naturally, people will ask, if this is momentum, what is mass? Does it have any mass? So we say, okay, it has momentum, it displays matter-like property. Since it is displaying like matter-like property, if at all I have to define mass, how would I define mass? I won't say this mass is not relevant. I'd say mass is zero. That's the only way I can tell you. It doesn't have mass. It has mass without, okay, this something, it's just to fill some kind of gap. Rest mass is considered to be zero. This is not zero. It's something that's the only way you can interpret. If I have to interpret its mass, I have to interpret its mass as zero. And by taking rest mass, because this as it moves with a different speed, we know that's a kinetic, that's a Newton Einstein's theory. As speed keeps changing, the mass also will keep changing. So mass is something which is not fixed. Mass depends on velocity. Mass is frame dependent. This one is not frame dependent. Photon remains unaffected. This is a simple problem. So what we'll do next part we'll do what is called matter-like behavior. And I think we'll already mention what is matter behavior. Even those, even waves have matter-like behavior, and we define matter-like behavior in terms of momentum. So if for a wave, primary quantity or primary characteristic of wave is wavelength and frequency. But from frequency, we can also derive we can also find this matter-like property, which is momentum. How is momentum related? This is de Broglie hypothesis. So de Broglie, that's what we'll do tomorrow. De Broglie, what it says, yes, it has a momentum. And what is de Broglie? What was very interesting, and de Broglie, okay, I'll just briefly mention. So de Broglie said, okay, nature loves symmetry. So waves have particle-like behavior, matter-like behavior. Can matter have wave-like behavior? And if at all we have to check, how do you think we'll check? Does matter have wave-like behavior? So suppose I want to conduct some experiment, how would I check whether matter has a wave-like behavior? What kind of experiment should I conduct to check whether matter has wave-like behavior? How did I prove wave-like behavior? Which experiment did we use to prove wave-like behavior?
Interference.
No, interference. No, exactly. We used interference. So this is something what they did. Okay, let's conduct an interference experiment with matter. So how was that experiment conducted? We'll briefly discuss. That experiment is not in our syllabus, but let's say there also we had two slits. We create two slits here. So there also we used monochromatic light. Here also what it did in this experiment, what was done? A light particle, electron was taken, and all electrons traveling with same kinetic energy, all electrons traveling with same velocity, were made to pass through two slits of YDAC-like experiment. And it was observed, so how it is traveling? It is traveling in a straight path. What was expected if I use a detector which will detect number of electrons reaching a particular point? There's a number of electrons. If I have photographic plate, the photographic plate will indicate the place where more number of electrons are reaching is see bright spot. What was very surprising here, so again this experiment was conducted. See, if it was just like a matter, I should have seen only a bright spot here, presence of electrons here, and presence of electrons here. Actually, this is not what happened. So again, if this spacing was very small, again what was observed was something like this. Let's understand what does it mean. So at this point, if I check what is the number of what number of electrons are reaching here, maximum number of electrons were reaching this point. So this what is plotted here, this zero indicates at this point practically no electrons were found. So there were some points similar to dark fringe and bright fringe, similar kind of pattern, not dark or bright fringe here in terms of number of population of electrons reaching this screen here. This also displayed this kind of behavior, wave-like behavior. So there was some patches where no electrons, patches high electron, in between varying. And this kind of behavior exactly matching with what we had interference pattern in case of waves. So this kind of experiment demonstrated even the matter also has wave-like behavior. Does it look surprising or not? Some of you find it really astonishing, whether even these electrons also, when you make through pass through the slit, and we find some electrons reaching here, less number here, and this is, are you able to follow what are this kind of shape indicate? Bhagishri,
Yes, sir.
are you following this?
Yes, sir.
Does it sound very astonishing? Whether some kind of surprise or no?
Yes, sir. It does.
It does. Whether this is something you see, when we have slit, we expect matter goes straight and hit here, be
It at
happy.
one place.
It's like I'm firing a bullet in a straight line and it's going somewhere here, and it's varying, and this kind of pattern. And the pattern, if I plot number of electrons hitting the plate in different times in terms of the bright patches it matches, it also demonstrates this kind of sign, this kind of curve, what we find in case of YDSC. And there were a few other experiments which proved. So when it makes this kind of thing, so it means it has behaved like wave. It has wave, it will have some lambda. It means this electron, which is moving with the velocity v naught, if it is behaving like wave, I should be able to find this wavelength as well. How would I find wavelength of an electron? I find from this equation. So this equation, it's helpful to calculate momentum for a wave. It also can help to find out lambda for a particle. So what is the wavelength of an electron? If this momentum is known, I can calculate its wavelength. That's the wave particle duality. Same relationship defines. So primary property of wave is lambda. I can find out its secondary property momentum using this de Broglie equation. In similar way, primary property of matter is in momentum. If momentum is known, I can find wavelength, and this wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength. So partly I've discussed what we are going to discuss tomorrow, wave particle duality. You have done wave particle duality a little bit in chemistry as well. Have all of you heard this term, wave particle duality?
Yes, sir. In chemistry, it was there.
It was there. No? So are you getting sense? What does it mean? It still sounds very vague, or are you getting some sense of what does duality mean? So that is the behavior, and this is something we'll continue. So same equation, we can do so. Okay, so we can find wavelength. So using this equation, if I have electrons traveling with velocity v, mass of electron is known, I can calculate momentum. Corresponding moment, I'm calculating wavelength. So I assume electron, if I calculate wavelength, we know what is the fringe width. So if I calculate wavelength, theoretically I can calculate fringe width, where would the dark fringe should occur. And that's the point, exactly matching with this theoretical calculation, we found practically no electrons reaching. So which not only proved this wave behavior, it also proved validity of this equation. This equation also, we can calculate lambda from this experiment, and the lambda calculation matched with same formula what we use for waves and matter. Okay, so that is what it is. I think I'll stop here. I think this, all of you just go through whatever questions we had done in the morning. So those who are not completed, please finish all those questions, and tomorrow we'll get started with this particle. Okay.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, in the case of the electron experiment,